3 a.m. You're awake before you know why. Heart already settling, whatever it was, it's already fading. You can feel the dream leaving, like something sliding out the back of your head. You don't know what it was. You just know it wasn't nothing. If this has been happening more than once, the same kind of waking, different nights, that same formless wait when your eyes open and you're already reaching back for something that's already gone, there's something worth paying attention to. Not the content of the dream, not the image. Something is running on a schedule you didn't set. Most people treat recurring nightmares as noise, the brain processing the day badly, stress leaking through, something to shake off by the time the coffee is ready. That model isn't entirely wrong. A hard week, a bad meal, a late night, any of these can produce a rough night. You wake, it fades, and by mid-morning it's gone. Most people have had this. It's not the kind of night this video is about. There is a different category. New nightmares. In adults. No clear source, no recent loss, no accident, nothing you can name. Progressive. They started recently and they keep returning without a clear trigger and without fading. A surgeon who has opened more than 15,000 human brains put it this way: that pattern is one of the clearest early warning signals he knows. He doesn't see it in people already in crisis. He sees it before the crisis forms. Not every bad dream is that signal. A nightmare tied to something real, a loss, a difficult stretch, something acute, that's the brain processing a known source. The content tends to match the cause. It fades as the cause does. What doesn't fade, and what the rest of this video is about, operates on a completely different mechanism. One that doesn't announce itself. One that doesn't start at night. It starts during the day. Your brain doesn't wind down when you sleep. It changes who is in charge. During your waking hours, one region coordinates everything. Judgment. Filtering. What you respond to and what you let wait. It's constantly making calls about what deserves your attention right now and what can be set aside. It is very good at the set-aside call. When sleep deepens, that region goes quiet. Not resting, quiet. The signals that define its waking function drop sharply. And the system underneath, the part that flags danger, reads emotional patterns, scans for threat, keeps running. Alone? This is not a flaw. Your body needs something scanning for threat even when the conscious mind is unavailable. The threat detection system doesn't clock out. It was never meant to be optional. Something needed to keep watch even when the rest went dark. But it doesn't filter the way the waking system does. It doesn't distinguish between the threat of a predator and the threat of a situation you've been managing. It reads the full state of the organism, including everything that was suppressed during the day. The low-level pressure you'd stopped noticing because you'd been carrying it long enough. The thing that had been sitting in the background for 3 weeks. The thing you'd parked. Not right now. At night, that filter is gone. That part reads what's actually there. And it wasn't built to set things aside. It was built to respond. And so it did. Every single time. 3 a.m. Heart already back to normal. Dream already leaving. You don't know what just happened. Whatever the system found it alone, without the override. The same region that keeps you functional is the one that prevents you from seeing what's running underneath it. When it goes offline, the reading surfaces. But that doesn't explain why it keeps coming back. One bad dream is noise. The same kind of waking, a different version, 3 nights running, is a pattern. And patterns mean the signal hasn't cleared. It doesn't store what it found and move on. It tries again the next night, because the thing it flagged is still there. Nightmares tied to a specific event, a loss, an accident, something that happened, tend to fade as the event processes. The system found a source. It ran the simulation. The signal weakened. Eventually, new onset nightmares with no identifiable source don't work this way. They persist. Sometimes escalate, not identical each time, but the same shape. The same weight when you wake. Because the thing being flagged at night is still being suppressed while you're awake. The override comes back online in the morning. The flag gets filed. And the next night, the filter goes offline again, and the system tries once more. Same night, same signal. The thing you've been not quite thinking about at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. The email you started and deleted. The door you've been walking past. The number you should have called. It doesn't stop because nothing has changed. Every night, the same report. And here's what makes this specific. He has tracked this across thousands of cases. Across operating rooms, post-surgical charts, long-term follow-up files. The pattern held. The findings that followed held too. Adults who develop new recurring nightmares show elevated rates of depression onset and elevated suicide risk. Not because the nightmares cause those outcomes. Because the nightmares are a readout. It surfaced something in the state of the organism that the waking brain had not yet acknowledged. Two different conditions. Two different points in the data. The same principle. The second condition made it harder to dismiss. And the same pattern appears differently. People who later develop Parkinson's disease show disrupted dream patterns, on average 15 years before the first motor symptom appears. The dreaming system running a signal the waking system hasn't caught yet. That's the gap between signal and symptom. The part running at night caught something the rest of the brain had no way to measure yet. This isn't a diagnostic error. It's a timing difference. New nightmares with no clear source are one of the clearest early warnings he has observed. Not a symptom, a warning. Which means the nightmare is not the thing to fix. The nightmare isn't the problem. It's the report. Your brain has been sending the same signal all week. Every fine "I'll deal with it later" went through the same assessment. Urgent enough to address now or not? Not. Keep moving. This particular thing can wait. Close your eyes, and that assessment goes quiet. What runs instead doesn't make that call. It goes through everything you've been skipping past. And what it finds, it surfaces. Not as an alert. Not as a message. In a feeling, a shape, a dream that makes no obvious sense but leaves that specific weight when you wake. When nightmares are new and they keep returning and there is no obvious source, the signal hasn't been heard yet. That's all. The brain is not misfiring. It never was. It is doing exactly what it was built to do with information you haven't looked at directly. The question the nightmare is asking has nothing to do with the dream. So next time you wake at 3 a.m., heart settling, dream already gone, and you don't know what just happened, don't try to reconstruct the content. The image doesn't matter. Ask what's been sitting in the background that you've been sliding past. The thing you've been managing. The thing that's fine, probably fine, you'll deal with it later. The decision you keep moving to next week. The conversation you keep not quite having. You know the one. Your brain ran it overnight. Without the filter. It found something. It's found it before. It'll keep finding it. That's not a malfunction. That's the body doing its job in the only window it has, the hours when the part of you that keeps everything manageable finally goes quiet. You are very good at keeping the story going, the version where everything is manageable, everything is under control. The sleeping brain has no story, just signal, just what's actually there. We built sophisticated ways of staying functional. The dream is what happens when one of them runs without the rest.